What's going on, guys? Lord King here again, back with another video. Well, actually, specifically another Dragon Ball Super episode review. Quickly just going over the previous episode. It's only going to be a quick episode, mainly because I think anyone who saw it knows not too much actually did happen. But we'll go over it anyway, because there were some smaller things that maybe need a bit more attention to detail. So overall, it was a pretty good episode. It was a little bit almost heartwarming. It was quite nice to see. It was just a really good sort of episode without much fighting, although there was a little bit of action. The animation looked pretty solid as well, so they're getting there. They're building up for this Universal Tournament arc now. They're going to have some really good episodes. I think it's evident to see with these almost not filler episodes, but the in-between stage ones. So it starts off, the Goku and all the gods comes back. He starts eating, as Geekdom said in his video. The food obviously looks incredible. All animation food always does look incredible, like the likes of Simpsons with the donuts. Almost everything, it always looks so good. We see Bulma doing the exercises with the little gang, and Vegeta's watching on. He's doing his little comments, like, I don't know if she should be exercising like that. He's kind of trying to do the cool dad sort of look, but it's where he doesn't really care too much, but he actually does care a lot. So it's kind of, we're seeing quite a nice development with Vegeta, and almost more of a character interaction where we see more emotion coming from him. I'm not sure if this is trying to show more of his Goku side, where he's actually more attached to his friends and family now. So we'll probably find that out in the future. It comes up with he actually cares about the name of the kid, saying the kid deserves a name worthy of a Saiyan. So again, it's just showing that he does care quite a lot. Goku's obviously looking for the participants in the tournament, and then it comes up the strange fact where we find out that there's only 28 planets in the universe 7. So this was quite weird, because well, we all know there's how millions of planets in the universe, which obviously were undiscovered, and it's the fact there's only 28 planets. I mean, well, it said Planet Sidal, Planet Vegeta, and Namek were all destroyed. Obviously, we know that Frieza, Beerus, and Boo, they've destroyed planets and things, but I can't imagine it getting down to 28. Maybe there'll be more explanation about that maybe later on, hopefully, because it's quite an odd one. So Supreme Kai, he says that he's going to go look for any strong people on the other planets, and we're still not sure as to why there's only a few planets, but I'm sure we'll find out maybe a bit later. There's a really funny moment with Beerus. Beerus, as I said before in my previous review, I think he is hands down the funniest character in the whole series of Dragon Ball Super. He's just, some of the stuff he comes out with, especially when he's in the Japanese voice, he's hilarious. And there's a good moment where he mentions Monaca, and Goku is saying, let's get Monaca to fight, and Beerus is saying no, he can't fight. He told him about the tournament before, etc. So it's a pretty funny moment, so look out for that if you haven't seen it. We then get to see quite a cool sort of concept, quite Namekian sort of style, where Goku, he mentions Krillin, whether he'll be quite good, and then we have Goku versus Gohan in this mental image training sort of battle, which I thought was a really cool sort of thing to see, where they're basically doing Krillin, in a small little battle versus Basil from the previous little exhibition match, the Trio de Danger, whatever they're called. So it's quite cool, and you see Krillin kind of holding his own, doing some quite nice techniques. It was quite a nice little fight scene from what we actually did see. It was a nice little action moment. Krillin, obviously, he doesn't really do too well in this mental imaging, but then Goku says he's going to be fine because he's got some good techniques. Gohan mentions Master Roshi. They kind of agree he's got some good tactics. Mr. Satan, Hercule says Android 18, and then they think about Android 17 and what he's doing this time. So this is the return of 17. They also mentioned that Trunks and Goten aren't going to compete, mainly because it's actually a tactical sort of fight. It's not going to be a brute strength sort of thing, so they won't be able to just go in and just use their power with their fusion and just kind of muscle their way through, because it's a very tactical thing where they have to drop people off the edge of the map. So we're not too sure if they'll be able to do it, and especially if they can't fuse, we're not 100% sure on the ruling of actual fusion. So if they can't fuse, then they're kind of a bit screwed, to be honest, because obviously they're powerful, but they're not on the sort of level of like Goku, Vegeta, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, even when they are fused, but let alone by themselves. And then the final ruling that we did hear from this is that no sensu beans are allowed. So obviously the old trick that they pretty much always do in these Dragon Ball series is they can't use, which is the sensu beans. So Goku tells Vegeta about the tournament, but then Vegeta kind of says that he's pretty much dedicated to Bulma and he can't compete because obviously the tournament is in 30 something hours, 38 hours, so he can't compete is what he says. And Goku's kind of wondering why. So Whis kind of just pops in and does his crazy angel magic thing and has the baby pop out of the air, which can't just come out of Bulma, and Bulma's stomach goes down to a normal size, and he basically says that so that Vegeta will be able to compete now because of this. So now a small thing that we kind of picked up on here. I'm probably overanalyzing this, but there's a potential with the kid Bulla Bra where they have been born. Bulla or Bra, depending on what you call her, that because Whis has had an impact on the birth, maybe in the future they'll give her some sort of angelic powers. Again, this may be just over speculation, but it could be a potential thing where Whis has had such an impact on the birth and he's actually brought forward the birth, showing how powerful he is. Maybe he's kind of implemented some of his angelic powers onto her. Again, I doubt it will happen, but it's a nice concept to kind of think about. So obviously Vegeta is now kind of fine to compete, and then obviously the baby's been born. Everyone's kind of coming round to see the baby, as people do when a baby is born. Everyone wants to see and hold a baby. So Vegeta is there, and almost every time anyone holds Bulla or Bra, whatever you call her, she starts crying. And then when she does, I think Vegeta has this pure instinct father attachment where anytime the baby cries, he goes into Super Saiyan Blue and always has this angry moment, and then everyone else, Goku, is like, is there an enemy around? Because he thinks, because he's going into Super Saiyan Blue, there's an enemy. It's quite a funny sort of moment where he's showing this very protective sort of dad feeling. Apart from when Trunks holds her, she doesn't cry, she kind of smiles, and then Trunks brings her over to Vegeta, saying that Bulma said to hold her and see what, just see her. It's like a dad should. And Vegeta says to Trunks, "Oh, you're not holding her right." So again, he's put some thought and effort into the kid, and he's showing some real emotion. He obviously loved holding the kid, and he's saying he has the name and everything thought out. So again, he's showing some real emotion that he does care for the kids quite a lot, despite trying not to show it. Bulma then says that the name is Bulla Bra. Vegeta is thinking, what? How can it be that? I wanted a Saiyan powerful name. He eventually comes to it, says it's not that bad of a name. One small concept, I'm not sure if this again is probably over speculation, but what could happen from this is where he has become more of a family man. The potential thing where his whole life has been focused towards power and gaining more power, which almost always held him back a little bit when comparing him to Goku, where some Goku just enjoyed fighting because he loved it. And he was not a family man, because Goku isn't the most dedicated to his family, but he cared about people a lot more. He was not the whole thing where Vegeta's whole life is just becoming the best Saiyan possible. So maybe this will be the way that Vegeta unlocks his next sort of potential, his next step in the power scaling. Although power scaling has gone pretty much redundant in Dragon Ball Super, but possibly it's the next step for him. So there's a really funny moment I saw at the end with Yamcha. Yamcha's always in these funny moments, especially with that baseball episode, but there is a funny moment this episode where he overheard the tournament talk, and he kind of backs up into the camera, and he says he's speaking to Gohan about the tournament, and then he basically thinks that he's going to be picked. So he tries to do this cool thing where he says, "I'm going to pretend that I don't care, kind of, and wait at home until they ask me to do it." So it was a pretty funny moment. I'm not sure if this is meant to lead on to where, because they didn't mention Tien in this episode, so I'm not sure if it's going to lead on to another funny moment later on when Yamcha is there waiting, maybe with Tien, for them to come and speak to him about joining the tournament, and they actually asked Tien instead of Yamcha. So it's maybe setting up something a little bit funny later, but it was quite a funny moment. Yamcha always seems to have these funny sort of things. That's pretty much it for this episode. It pretty much ended like that. It wasn't the most ridiculous episode, but again, it was quite a nice sort of one. It showed Vegeta's softer side. So then into the next episode, the preview, it showed Krillin's kind of actually been training a lot, and he's there training by himself, well, with Android 18 watching, and it shows in the subtitles, the script below, that Goku says he's actually almost learnt some new techniques, I believe. So they then say he wants to do a full spar. He's learnt some new moves, so they want to do a full spar. It then shows a little clip of Krillin versus Gohan, and Gohan's almost struggling. Krillin's doing like this punch to him, and he's almost struggling trying to hold it back. So I think it's showing that Krillin's kind of developed this sort of crazy power in this short amount of time, as they always do. But as he did with in one of the previous episodes where it showed Krillin and Goku fighting the memories or whatever it was when getting that plant from Master Roshi, Krillin had that almost unlocked that kind of new potential. So maybe he's kind of harnessed that a little bit more. Maybe he's a little bit more comfortable with it. And then it also showed after Goku saying in the subtitles they should do a full spar, it shows Goku actually going into Super Saiyan Blue at the end. So again, I'm not sure. Maybe this is Krillin actually showing some real potential here, and Goku actually struggling a little bit. So we're not too sure here. Goku's obviously trying to get Krillin and Android 18 to fight with them. Again, as I mentioned before, power scaling is quite a weird one. Again, it was almost redundant now, where obviously Krillin is... I'm obviously looking into the episode maybe a bit too much, because it may have nothing to do with Krillin where Goku goes Super Saiyan Blue. But if it does have something to do with Krillin, then I'm not sure how Krillin manages to match up with a Super Saiyan Blue god Goku. But I guess we'll find out that next Saturday, well, this Saturday coming up. That's pretty much it, guys. It wasn't the most eventful episode, but it was quite a nice one, and it was enjoyable to watch. So as always, guys, thank you for watching. I'll have some more Xenoverse videos out this week, hopefully some FIFA and maybe some UFC and NBA. I need to do a UFC preview for UFC 210 on April 8th, so I'll do a preview for that coming up in the next week or so. But apart from that, remember to like, share and subscribe as always. The sharing really does help. It makes the channel grow and obviously helps the videos become a little bit better quality for you guys. So as always, I've been Lord King. Thank you very much.